Hi, I'm Antonio Centeno. I'm the founder of Real Men, Real Style. Today, gentlemen, I'm going to be giving you 5 tips on how to dress if you have a muscular build. I know some of you guys out there, you really take care of your body. Some of you guys are bodybuilders, and you're wondering, Antonio, how can I dress better? So before I get into this, gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way these videos come right to you and you don't miss any of my ghost videos. In addition, if you find this video useful, you like it, well, click on the like button. And if you've got something to add, if you've got some tips for muscular men on how they can dress better, if you are a well-built man and you've got some secrets, please share them down below. Guys, I love to learn from you. I love to hear from you and look forward to reading your comments. Now, this is the question that came in. Hi there, I really love your vids, Antonio. I would love it if you could do a video on style for muscular guys. I'm a power lifter, not very fat, but most of my other clothes seem to give that impression. From speaking to guys at the gym, some of the general problems are shirts hang off my chest and they give the impression of a large midsection. Some suits and shirts, also they tend to bunch up and they make it look like we've got a big stomach. Pants, they may fit around the waist, but they're way too tight in the thigh area. Antonio, can you help me out? I don't want to look like an overweight man. Now, I really understand this, and in fact, I've got a number of friends, Tom Venuto over at Burn the Fat, Ryan Masters over at Spartan Strength. These guys are dealing with exactly what you talked about. And having consulted with them, having talked with them, I've got 5 tips, 5 things which you can start with. Now, there's probably a lot more you can do, and I'll even, in the article over at Real Men, Real Style, which will support this video, I'll link to a couple blogs and other articles which go into deeper information, some of them on my own website. But these 5 tips will get you started, all right? So tip number 1, your tailor is your friend. In fact, you should know the name of your tailor. All of your clothing can be adjusted to fit you better. Now, I'm not going to say it's going to fit you perfect. For that, you're probably going to want to look at custom clothing if you can afford it. But I'm going to assume you can't. So if that's the case, then you want to take your clothing to get it adjusted. I knew one gentleman down in Florida who actually built some of his own clothing because he was so frustrated with going to bodybuilding competitions and not having clothing that would look right on him and be proportioned. So it matters really how much your pain point is. And I probably should have been more clear because there are some great custom clothers out there that are very inexpensive. The key is they're not necessarily convenient to reach. They're usually going to be over in Bangkok, some of them over in Hong Kong. I've got a free ebook over at A Tailored Suit you can go grab. It's called 7 Mistakes That Men Make Buying Custom Clothing. At the end of that ebook, I've got a list of tailors that I recommend. And on that list, I do have inexpensive tailors. The problem there is they're not very convenient. They're going to be over in Bangkok. They're going to be over in Hong Kong, and you're going to probably have to do a mail order thing, or you're going to have to catch them when they're traveling throughout the States or Europe. But if that is your situation, then this may be a great investment for you. But if you're in New York City, if you're in Los Angeles, if you're down in South Texas in Brownsville, there's probably a great tailor in your area. You're just going to have to find them, and you're going to, I talk about that. I'll link to another article that talks about how to find, a tailor in your area. But the key is, gentlemen, is find a tailor. He is your friend. Point number 2, size down. So I know some of you guys are thinking, well, Antonio, the clothing is going to be way too tight on me. Well, I find that most men wear clothing that's way too large for them. So when it comes to a lot of your clothing, size it down and then see if you can adjust it in the hot spots. So it pertains to point number 1. When you've got the tailor, then you can take them, then you can say, it's just a bit tight here. It's maybe a bit tight there. Can you adjust this to fit me? And then you'll find that, wow, I've actually got something that makes me look great and doesn't have that adverse effect of making you look overweight. You spend a lot of time in the gym. You spend time watching what you eat. And why not be able to show to the world that you take care of your body by actually wearing clothing that fits you? Point number 3, find your brand. Everyone out there has a particular brand which is going to suit them best. Now, I don't know what brand is going to suit you, but I am going to say that you need to go through the process of trying various brands, and it's going to be something that, you could go to the local mall, maybe go to the Mall of America if you're in Minneapolis or St. Paul, but go someplace where you can try on a wide variety of clothing. A medium in one brand does not equate to a medium in another. And so you may find that, wow, this one really fits me and this one's way too tight. And knowing that, then you can shop exclusively at that store because they're using models which actually are going to better fit your body. Okay, so point number 4 is to seek proportion in all of your clothing. So this is something that, when you're wearing clothing, you don't want something that's going to exaggerate, especially if you're a bodybuilder. You've got a really large chest, but let's say smaller, lower body. You don't want something that's going to make your chest to waist ratio look too off, because you're going to end up looking like a cartoon character, and you're going to have people pointing at you, not because you look great, but because you look a bit odd. So pay attention to proportion. If you're going to buy jeans, maybe look at a boot cut. Why a boot cut? Well, it's going to make the bottom of your leg area maybe look a little bit larger, which is going to help offset your larger top area. Does that make sense? And well, I'll try to have some illustrations. I'm going to link to some articles which go into more detail about this. Finally, experiment. Gentlemen, look to upgrade bits of your wardrobe. Try wearing a piece of clothing which maybe you haven't ever tried, but it's going to look great on you. So instead of just wearing jeans all the time, maybe you should be looking to upgrade to some nicer trousers that you can wear out in and around town. They're going to look great. They're going to be easier to adjust, and they actually may give you more options when it comes to sizing. Instead of wearing loose shirts all the time, go look at some designer shirts, and you can find some great deals in the sale rack. And all of a sudden, you're able to wear something that's more cut to your body. Instead of just wearing t-shirts or a dress shirt out, actually invest in some very nice button-down casual shirts, which are more built for your body. When it comes to a shirt and tie, instead of wearing a shirt and tie to work, actually maybe wear a sports jacket and no tie with a nice dress shirt, and leave it maybe unbuttoned so it doesn't make you look so disproportional, or button it and you get to show off a bit more of your physique. Now, there are some, other things. I'm going to get back to the whole tailor point. Guys, that is the number one thing that I think any man who takes care of his body needs to focus in on, and that is working with a good tailor in his area who can help take his existing clothing and make it fit better. All right, gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed this. Again, go to the article. I'm going to link to more information about this. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.